Evilenemy was not born with a destiny. He bled for it. Tall, armored head to toe in scorched titanium plating, his suit was painted black from carbon burns and enemy blood alike. A glowing red skull was scratched, literally carved, into his chest plate. Every scar on it marked the world he had saved, and every dent told the story of something that died in front of his gun. Strapped to his back was the blood hammer, a heavy coil assault cannon that could split star whales in half. On his thigh hung a secondary pulse cleaver pistol. On his hip, a monomolecular blade called the surgeon, capable of cutting clean through alien bone. At his side hovered his only companion, Valkyrie. A floating, blue-white 3D AI combat interface, shaped like a mythical war angel, wings unfolding in fractal light, a glowing visor where a face should be. She was not just a machine. She was a digital warrior built from the wreckage of the last galactic supercomputer, running 1.2 trillion battle predictions per second. Bio readings spiking. Multiple signatures. Not human. Not friendly, she announced in harmonic synthetic voice. Evilenemy cracked his massive knuckles. Then they die. The frontier colony of Gravis Cinder 9 had gone silent hours ago. No signals. No transmissions. Nothing but static. The planet's skies churned red from iron oxide storms that made every sunrise look like raw meat. Dropships never landed gently there, they hit the surface like coffins being slammed shut, and Evilenemy's landing was no different. The thrusters blasted the desert flat as the ramp dropped open. The stench hit first. Not cosmic dust. Not engine oil. Blood. Rot. Split alien organs baking in the acidic wind. The colony gates were ripped apart, claw marks scoring 20 feet deep. The defense mechs were shattered, servos twitching like dying animals. One had been impaled on its own plasma spear, leaking hydraulic fluid like spilled veins. Evilenemy stepped forward. His boots made wet sounds. He looked down. The ground was not dirt anymore. It was mud mixed with liquefied colonists and obliterated alien tissue. No survivors? He asked. Not above 40% organic integrity, no. That was AI language for. Everyone is dead or in pieces small enough to fit in a lunchbox. He loaded the blood hammer. The sound was a mechanical growl. Valkyrie traced the wave paths. Source is subterranean. An impact crater beneath the colony. Clusters in formation. Likely hive intelligence. Hive means mother alien, he muttered. Correct. Hive implies queen core organism. Queen means more blood. Good. The crater was massive, half a mile wide, filled with wrecked ships that were not engineered, but grown. Organic metal, tooth-like hull plating, pulsating membranes pumping fluid through visible tubing. One of the tubes split open on contact. It spilled yellow bioplasmic pus, steaming, eating holes into the rock like acid throw-up. Valkyrie unfolded her wings, scanning. Inside the crater was a pit descending into darkness. Around it were the decorations. Skeletons. Human rib cages crushed open like hats. Alien skulls split to harvest the brain. Meat hanging from broken antenna spears as if drying for later. Aliens had eaten everything. But they were not done. A sudden clicking echo rattled up the shaft. Movement ascending. ETA 8 seconds. Evilenemy grinned under his helmet. Give them a faster arrival. He fired first. The blood hammer detonated down the mine, a spiraling red coil of vibration that turned the entire shaft into a blender of pressure waves. The ground heaved like a heart failing. A swarm of bio-eels shot upward, myriapod alien horrors with sharp segmented bodies and eyeless faces full of needle teeth. They erupted into the surface only to be volumetrically pulped midair. The sonic burst hit them like God swinging a sledgehammer. They exploded internally, spitting blood, bile, liquefied spines, and chitin fragments. Chunks rained down. One eel had bounced once. Twice. Then settled, leaking gray matter. More sounds crawled below. Now awake. Now angry. Valkyrie marked targets. We go down. Hard. Fast. Violently. They descended by maglift. No lights. The walls pulsed with living matter. It was breathing. The entire tunnel was alive and worked like a digestive throat. Halfway down, something ruptured from the wall. A hive striker drone, enormous, plated like a war rhino crossed with a mantis, burst outward, tearing itself free in a spray of membrane and blood umbilicals. It lunged. Evilenemy let it hit him. That was a mistake for the alien. The impact buckled against his armor with enough force to detonate its own shoulder carapace. Bone shards and muscle flaps peeled open. Limbs broke backward. Its inner thorax split like an overfilled oil drum. Evilenemy didn't waste the chance. He shoved the surgeon directly into its chest cavity, grit snapping under the blade, the resistance of alien bone giving way with a wet scream as he lever-twisted upward. He carved it from pelvis to mandible in one long, clinical rip. The alien didn't fall. It unfolded open like dead scissors, spilling everything it had ever eaten. Ribbons of intestine hit the floor like ropes. A half-digested human boot landed beside them. The smell was indescribably wrong. Valkyrie updated kill metrics. Evilenemy spit inside his helmet. Next. They reached the bottom. The tunnel opened into a cavern the size of a stadium, and it looked like the stadium had been filled with a meat factory. The hive was there. And everything else was food. The hive organisms were kneeling, or whatever that word meant for creatures built from nightmare geometry. Tall, insectoid zealots chanting in subaudible wavelengths that vibrated teeth, eyeballs, and free-floating blood mist in the air. Because there was blood mist. So much of it that it had never fallen to the ground. They turned. And beheld the space hero. One of the alien apostles screeched a war signal. Evilenemy did not care to translate. He fired the bloodhammer sideways and erased its upper half. The wave burst turned it into mist of meat shrapnel, spraying the hive in red graffiti. The rest charged. Predict attack vectors. 1.29 million futures calculated. All end violently. For them, not you. Then optimize. She deployed the shield, a rotating matrix of hard light defense panels that sliced incoming projectiles apart on contact like razor suns orbiting them. Alien spears, bone spikes, pressure cysts, everything that touched it was filleted to ribbons. Evilenemy walked into the storm like walking into rain. Pure slaughter followed. Heads vaporized. Carapaces cracked like eggs full of soup. Limbs severed clean, twitching, still grabbing nothing. Bodies punched through with enough pressure to paint the walls behind them. The drones were fast. He was faster. A drone tried to bite his arm off. He responded by grabbing its skull, crushing until its exoskeleton split and his gauntlet sank into its brain, then throwing the entire corpse into its siblings hard enough to snap their legs into inverted angles. He cleaved through survivors with the surgeon. No mercy. No hesitation. No wasted cuts. Everything that screamed stopped screaming eventually. The chanting ended. Now there were only loud, wet-dying noises. The hive pulsed violently behind a gate of bone lattice and pulsar stitching. A massive gate grown from fused alien corpses. It unlocked itself with organic hydraulics, ribs retracting, skull bolts rolling backward. Inside was the source. The Hive Queen. Gigantic. 80 feet long. She was a centipede goddess with rows of egg sacs swollen like tumors. Her head was plated with nested jaw structures capable of crushing tanks. Her body glowed with nerve patterns that lit up as she screamed. Not a normal scream. A signal. And the eggs responded. The sacs burst like fleshy balloons, spraying embryonic fluid and releasing thousands of newborn swarm critters that hit the ground already running, claws scraping sparks. Valkyrie scanned. They are not decaying. They are accelerating. Evilenemy walked forward anyway. Let them come. I want the mother to watch it happen. He deployed the bloodhammer to heavy mode. The critters leapt like a tidal wave of stabbing fangs. He pulled the trigger. The cannon unleashed a spiraling red shock pillar, which uncoiled into a field of meat-grinding harmonic destruction. Critters detonated. Others were turned into bone confetti. Some liquefied fast enough to slide off him in rivers. Others ruptured mid-jump, organs exploding forward out of their mouths like wet confetti cannons of death. One hit the shield and disintegrated in shimmering razor fragments. But there were too many. They buried him. Not a problem. That was the plan. He erupted outward in a forward shock recoil burst, blowing the entire swarm off him in a 360 degrees ring of sonic gut magma. It shredded them. It erased them. It atomized them. Now the Queen was furious. The floor was coated in millions of mashed alien bodies forming pulsing bloody mulch. She lunged. Her jaws gaped wide enough to split a fighter. Evilenemy braced. The jaws slammed shut on his shoulder. He heard metal and biological pressure compressing together. Alarms flashed. The suit braked under strain. Sparks and alien saliva smeared across his armor, sizzling like hot fat on a skillet. Integrity? He asked calmly. 62%. Critical threshold 50%. If she bites again, you break. Then I end it before bite number 2. He jammed the surgeon upward into her lower jaw joint, severing nerves and cartilage. She howled and ripped backward, taking pieces of the tunnel walls with her retreat. Now she was leaking from multiple mouth vents. He switched weapons. The pulse cleaver pistol hummed like death's doorbell. He blasted round after round through her optic plates, exploding her eyes inside their sockets. One burst outward, splashing internal blood pressure like a squished water tower, spraying the ceiling in arterial meteors. She panicked. He reloaded. She slammed her body against the ground to throw him. He jumped instead and landed on her skull. He stabbed point-blank through cranial bone until the blade hit the queen brain cluster. Then he fired the pistol directly down the blade, sending plasma through the neural core. Her head exploded from the inside, cracking open like a coconut full of red galaxy paint. Evilenemy rode the blast outward, boots slamming into ground like the punctuation at the end of a very violent sentence. The queen twisted twice. Then deflated. The cavern was silent now. And soaked, coated, drenched, painted, marinated. Cleaning would not be possible even if cleaning had been the point. Valkyrie floated over the corpse. Hive neutralized. All Xenos signatures terminated. Your survival probability has returned to statistically unnecessary. Evilenemy exhaled. Blood dripped off his armor into something that used to be a defense console. Log the kill count. Hive organisms eliminated, 14,982. Queen, 1. Planet saved, 1. Enemies that deserved it, all of them. Empire ships were already arriving above ground. Colonists could not be resurrected, but the frontier would stay human because one armored man decided the galaxy needed another day to live. Evilenemy sheathed the surgeon. Valkyrie folded her wings. Next orders, hero? He walked toward the lift, leaving a trail that proved he had been there. Refuel. Reload. And find more things that think they can kill us. She hovered beside him. They will learn. Eventually. They will die. Immediately. The lift doors closed. Behind them, a nest ruined, a queen undone, a world reclaimed. Ahead, more stars, more enemies, more blood. Because Evilenemy was not a hero of peace. He was a hero of endings. And the universe was very full of things begging to end.